Hell no. What is going on? No, sir. No. You can't use your trauma to vote for some... What were you doing? No, I don't give a shit. I rallied 16 people from my community and divided them into 2 teams, one for high fantasy games and the other dark fantasy, and they will battle each other's song nominations in a fierce tournament. This one, though, had something that has never happened before. Something that changed the course of an otherwise bleak situation for one of the teams. Okay, yeah, I would say this is high fantasy for sure. Okay, this is good. I really like the woodwind section, as I always do. Okay, that was a pretty good opening. Let me tell you that. That was a pretty good opening for the tournament. Now, I have already heard the matchup that this song is going against. It is a juggernaut of a track. I have already covered this track even in a dedicated video that I did on my channel. Let's check it out. This is going to be Subeto de Plata. Redux. This song is sick, mate. Deadhead says mid. Mid! You are mid. How dare you say this track is mid, mate? That's blasphemy. Both tracks are very big for their side and open the tournament with pride. Yeah, I would say so. That's very true. True. T-Bone says prefer the first track. Well, he is a member of the high fantasy team. So I don't know if he's saying this because of his blind allegiance towards his team, or because he legitimately likes the high fantasy track more. Putting your bias aside, you can't deny this song is good. That's fine if you like the other track more, the high fantasy track more. That's fine. That's what this is all about. The songs that you like and more or less. But that doesn't take away how great this song is. It's one of the best songs from Blasphemous. Dun, 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 dun. Carlos Viola. I don't know why I said it like an Italian. It should be Carlos Viola. Carlos Viola, tío. It's good, but again, I prefer the first game's track. It's good, but again, I prefer the first game's track. Says the team of the other, the captain of the other team. How surprising. Fierce is more on the theme, I feel. Okay, Lasers is bringing a good point. He's judging the track based on not just how he likes the track, but also how on theme is the song. And that is what this tournament is all about. About how good the song is, but also how on the theme of the tournament is. How high fantasy or how dark it is. But I'm gonna vote for Blasphemous. This is not a surprise for anybody. I like the dark more. So that's going to be 5 against 4. The Adventures of Elliot still win this matchup. Okay, here we go. Most of the dark team is out banging MILFs, so it's unfair. They wish they would be. I mean, I'll be honest, so far at least, this does sound like a high fantasy track, but it's not high enough because it introduces like a darker vibe because it is a boss theme. So I think the Elliot track was way more in line in terms of what we were looking for to hear from the high fantasy tracks. But Octopath Traveler is overall a high fantasy game, with the caveat that this is a boss song and therefore needs to have like a darker vibe in a world of high fantasy because it's a boss theme. Just pointing that out, mate. They in the East, they love to do solo instruments for the melodies. They love it. If it is not an electric guitar, a distorted electric guitar, a lead guitar, it is a solo violin. Atlas, so all boss themes are dark adjacent. What if you have a boss that's a giant plushie? Will that still be considered dark adjacent? No, it depends on the song. It's song-based. Not saying that what determines the whole thing is the boss. I'm just saying that since it is a boss theme, it's more than likely to have like a darker vibe because it's a foe. And often in high fantasy games, you are in the light side, you know, and you are like a paladin or a hero that is fighting for justice and peace and so on and so forth. And obviously the bosses you're going to be fighting more or less most of the time are going to be characters that are in the darker path. Okay, let's listen to Dark Souls Firelink Shrine. I mean, I don't even have to introduce this song. At this point, this is I'm not going to say this is a legendary track, but it's going to become a legendary track in a couple of years, that's for sure. This track is so homesick. That is a very good way to put it, Roll. I never thought about being homesick, but this song is the epitome of homesick. Very well put. This is plucking my heartstrings right now. It's Dark Souls, mate. This is my second most favorite track from Dark Souls 1. My favorite is Nameless Song, because that's the first one, the credits track. But second to that one is Firelink Shrine. As a matter of fact, just listening to the song made me want to play Dark Souls again. Fantastic song. Compared to this, anything would sound cheerful, to be honest. It's a huge contrast to the Octopath track. That's exactly more now what I said when people were making the nominations. We are looking for contrast. That's one of the objectives, or was, or is one of the objectives of the tournament. Contrast. We need a lot of contrast in between the two songs. The more the better. Those DS streams were fun. Well, I didn't stream when I played Dark Souls 1 for the first time. I didn't stream it. Although when I finished the game, I did do some streams after I finished, after the fact. The only Dark Souls that I streamed was Dark Souls 3. And then I did Elden Ring. Then Paragon voted for Octopath Traveler. I mean, if we're talking about being unbiased, there you have it. Okay. I'm going to vote for Dark Souls as well. So let's put 8 against 1 there. Here we go. Oh, it's a card game, I think. Oh, no, it's not. Or maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, this sounds more like dark fantasy to me than high fantasy, lads. Well, what do you think? Now, like I said, there's a spectrum in each of the games. I'm not saying this sounds like fucking Bloodborne, you know, but I hear this has a little bit of more of a tint of a darker fantasy vibe. Personally, even if the game itself is high fantasy, this sounds more of it sounds more like it has a dark fantasy vibe. But I'm not really sure if this is like super high fantasy. I mean, compare this to you know, the song with which we opened the tournament, the Elliot track. There's a lot of contrast in between the two songs. Anyways, let's listen to Lunacid. This looks like a boomer shooter. The vocals kind of make it feel high. I actually disagree on that. Because the melody is like melancholic and it was a single singer. In high fantasy, we often hear choirs instead of just a single voice. That's very dungeon synthy part here. Also, the choirs remind me of an anime soundtrack. I can't put my finger on which anime soundtrack that is, but this guy has been with From Software since the Age of Fire. Who? Oh, Tsukasa Saito? Oh, he made music for Kingsfield. I didn't know that. If both of these songs were in a matchup of only dark fantasy songs, I would have voted for Hand of Fate 2. I like Hand of Fate 2 more than the Lunacid track. But this, I think the nomination, it's not in the right place. Personally, I think. And I like in between the two songs, I actually like more Hand of Fate 2. Well, it doesn't matter because Lunacid wins by a landslide. That's brutal. They should have taken the main theme, high energy, high stakes. I mean, we're not necessarily looking for high energy, high stakes, just contrast. I mean, Firelink Shrine won by a landslide, more or less. And it doesn't have any of those things. I don't see any reason why this song also wouldn't catch the vote just based on its own merits, besides just being energetic or high stakes. Music by the great Jeremy Soule. Hopefully Jeremy can make a comeback. I think it's good and nice but boring. I think you're just in the mood of listening to something intense. Anyways, let's listen to the Demon Souls track now. Well, you wanted struggle and intensity, Firesdale. There it is. There you have it. No, that sounded a little bit like Bloodborne. That melody. It's a little bit Bloodborne-ish. I am more a fan of Demon Souls OST. The OG version of this is a literal funeral song. I think we did listen to both versions on a stream quite a while ago. They tried to do the Bloodborne thing for OST for Demon Souls remake, but it didn't even come close in my opinion. I mean, I would have to listen to I would have to do an A/B comparison in between the OG soundtrack and this one to see if the remake OST was built or you know, composed, written close to the original vision of the composer, or they took a little bit more of a liberty with this one. This is good because we have extreme contrast. Well, not that extreme. I'm not gonna say the Skyrim track it's dark, but it's a little bit tinted in the darkness with a little bit of dark. The Skyrim track is a very soothing, peaceful track. This one is the complete opposite. It's the intensity, struggle, conflict song. So we have a very good contrast in that at the very least. Okay, we don't have a tie here, but personally, I would say I like more the Skyrim track. I'm part of the dark team and I am voting for the high fantasy track. Look at that. You should learn from me. I am the example right here. Wretches. Yeah, this sounds pretty high fantasy. It even has a little bit of a martial thingy in the percussion. Not really sure if that sounds like dark fantasy, to be honest. I think the lead guitar melody is a little bit too... Hey, let's go! Kind of thing. That's not dark fantasy vibes. Guy who nominated this just couldn't be bothered to look deeper. Hey, Paragon, what the hell? Listen, if you're going to throw under the bus a teammate, at least do it in closed doors. Just do it in the tournament thread or the team thread. Don't do it in public. Don't be a wretch. A landslide vote for Pathfinder. Like, Castlevania is a dark fantasy game, but the track was way too colorful and uplifting to be even considered a dark fantasy track, even in the slightest. So based only on that, you just have to vote for Pathfinder. Once again, second time I'm voting for a high fantasy track. Look at that. Or for the high fantasy team in this case. The next one ruined the franchise. I never played any of the Fables. I understand this was very much an Xbox game. I never had an Xbox, so never played it. Wait a second, this turned a little bit dark here. What's going on? Okay, I think this track, what this track is doing is like creating a lot of the world building of the entire game. You know, you have the super high fantasy queue, you have the more darker queue. This is the high fantasy queue that I was talking about. Then you have like the conflict, struggle, challenge queue, which is like almost like a boss battle theme. And then you return to this queue again. You end where you begin. I think we have heard this song before. Not really sure if this is a dark fantasy track. It's a little bit too dancey to be a dark fantasy song. I like it though. It's a desert theme. It could work for a desert theme. I'm not gonna lie, that's true. Well, you should have vetoed it. Oh my god. Did you listen to that? You know what that means, right? I want to vote for Fable yet again. At this point, I'm voting because my teammates are just dropping the ball. I have to say it. I have to call it out. Fortunately, we do have pretty strong contenders like Dark Souls, Firelink Shrine, and whatnot. But I don't know if that's going to save us. Fable goes to the next round, as it should. Deserved. Okay, let me predict Firelink Shrine gonna win. Not really sure. Anybody wants to start a bet in Polymarket about this? Oh, they love to do those chord progressions in Easter songs. Damn. The drummer went nuts in that part. Does it really make me think of fantasy? Well, I mean, the song is very lively and uplifting. So in that case, it goes with the premise of a high fantasy theme. The only difference is that this is like a rock song that is very bright and uplifting. So it's not conventionally a high fantasy track, but it does have the elements of a high fantasy conventional track. Something very oppressive already. That change in the melody is super dark. Give me shivers. This sounds way too cheerful. You're gay. So we have a tie here. I'm gonna have to do the tiebreaker here. Look at that. I would say that the Final Fantasy 13 track, it is aligned with with the high fantasy setting, because like I did explain, it is an uplifting, high energy, brightful track. The only caveat that I have with the song is the one that Paragon pointed out, and it is that it is not a conventional high fantasy track. It's not an orchestral track or a dungeon synth track. It's a rock song. It's a jazzy rock song. It has also some fusion elements in it. So that makes the relationship with the track a little bit strained, not because of the song itself, but because of what we're trying to achieve in the tournament. So it does have high fantasy elements, as opposed to Grim Dawn, which is certainly not only in contrast with the track, it's very, I'm going to say soothing for lack of a better word, but it's more lower energy, but it sounds super dark and super oppressive and super sad. So I'm going to vote for Grim Dawn. What a surprise. Grim Dawn beats a juggernaut. The dark prevails. That's very pretty. It does have a tint of darkness, but it's super mild. It's like this beautiful melancholy. The darkness is more about sadness, really. Yes, I agree. For example, think about how you feel when you remind of a time in your life that is very nostalgic. You feel sort of sad about it, you know? Because you wish you could live those moments again. But at the same time, it can be comforting because you got to live them, you know what I mean? So it's something like that. It's like a bittersweet song. You know, when we were deciding if which track, which blind, the Binding of Isaac track we were going to choose, and we said this one was a pretty good, a strong contender, and it is pretty good. But dang, mate, the high fantasy track is fire as well. I mean, this part with the metal, the fucking metal. I like both songs, and both songs are aligned with what we were trying, with what we were trying to accomplish with the tournament contrast. But I have to be truthful to my decision, and I have to say that I like Odin Sphere more. Yet again, a member of the Dark team voting for high fantasy track. Look at that. Animu Girls goes to the next round. I like the brass. Me like. Is this game supposed to be like a survival RPG or something? It's a journey RPG. Journey RPG. What does that even mean? Not really sure if this is our fantasy, lads. Let's see if it changes though. I might be speaking too early to for my own good. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is dark. This could work. I mean, you could put this in a high fantasy game, and be it like that other song that we just heard previously. Outward makes it to the next round. Not surprising, to be honest. Not surprising at all. Okay, I like what I'm hearing so far. I really like the rhythm in the guitar. Damn, this is good, mate. I wanted the song to, you see, this is a short track. See, this is what happens with short tracks, which is something that I explained in my team thread. They feel like they need more development, unfortunately. I wanted the song to keep going and develop more. They feel a little bit cut short. But if this song was even longer, it would be fantastic. This is great. This is a great Genshin track. Great nomination. I have to be honest. Let's listen to the Diablo track. Be real, but how much did F-Type pay you? Oh, he couldn't afford me if he wanted to. Dang. That is dark as fuck. Very dark. This track kind of has a military vibe to it. Yeah, it does have a martial thing going on in the percussion. If the Genshin Impact track was like 3 minutes at the very least long, I would have voted for Genshin Impact 100%. But I think it's just cut off. It feels like it's cut off. Now, mind you, it suits perfectly the high fantasy theme, as well as the Diablo 2 track fits perfectly the dark fantasy theme of the tournament. We have the absolute contrast in between the two tracks, which is what we wanted to achieve. But the Genshin Impact track is way too short. If it was longer, if it was like 3 minute track, I would have voted for Genshin for sure. I want to vote for Diablo. But yeah, Genshin did win this matchup. Oh yeah, this is high fantasy for sure. Those arrangements in the brass are unmistakably high fantasy. Oh, all right. Bringing some electronic elements into it. That transition was sick. It's not oppressively dark, but it does have a dark element in it. I feel like there is a neutral element in the music, which is the electronic music that makes the song more agnostic towards either high fantasy or dark fantasy. But overall the song is dark. I just don't think it is very representative of what we were looking for in the dark fantasy realm. But it does have dark in it. I should clarify that. Okay, this is giga high fantasy already. I can agree with that. You see, I think the high fantasy team was way more effective in identifying what I meant about the contrast and the theme of the songs. Compare this to the Elliot track that we heard at the beginning. They are so similar in their characteristics of what makes them high fantasy track. You know, bright and uplifting. Look at that. Listen to that. It's just so uplifting and colorful, you know. Let's listen to Berserk. Jesus Christ. Motherfucking God. What a beating. This hurts. I think the Soul Calibur track was from T-Bone, I think. Dang, mate. That's gotta hurt. I knew this was going to happen because this Berserk track, mate, is one of our Hail Marys. I'm telling you. This one has... Have you noticed that there has been quite a few tracks that have that martial military vibe in the percussion? Interestingly enough, in this particular one, it sounds more like a high school marching band or something than like an actual army military kind of thing. Makes sense. It's you know, it's a more light-hearted game. This is my favorite part of the song. Well, this one and the final cue of the song are fantastic. Oh, this part. This part is fantastic. The resolution of the song is just gorgeous, mate. Dang! Slayed. Absolutely destroyed. That's what you get. Okay, this is very pretty right here. I like that melody a lot. That chromatic descending run to make the transition, that was fantastic. Do you remember how Asmongold beat this boss back when the expansion released? He cheesed the boss so hard. He used like that Giga Shield and the Ultra Giga Heavy armor, and he just poked the boss to death. It was really funny. I'm not gonna lie, I liked more the Eternal Sonata track than the Elden Ring track. And I don't have any notes in regards to any of the songs, whether they belong or not to High Fantasy and Dark Fantasy. They are completely aligned. With Eternal Sonata, Dark Fantasy track for sure. Sorry, Eternal Sonata, High Fantasy track for sure. Elden Ring, complete Dark Fantasy track. So at this point is which song I like more. I would say Eternal Sonata takes that for me. I like more Eternal Sonata. Eternal Sonata. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Don't say anything.
6, 7.
Okay.
This song is a classic at this point. And I didn't play World of Warcraft. And I know this is a classic. Sorry, gay head. WoW is as high fantasy as it gets. Yeah, like I said, the game is high fantasy. This is something that I explained with the Octopath Traveler track as well. You're gonna have darker songs in high fantasy games for reasons, bosses, villains, and whatnot. So you can't really have a song like Eternal Sonata with a villain. Obviously, you need to have a darker song. That does not mean that it's a dark fantasy game because of that. Darker undertones amidst high fantasy. Exactly. Mac understands. So we have a tie right now. I'm gonna have to do the tiebreaker here. How about that? World of Warcraft. Okay, I like the melody in the piano. It's pretty good. High forces! Dang! This shit is good! The thing is that I know that if you vote against this track, it's just because you're hating against me. Let the prophecy unfold upon your eyes in the votes. Yes, sir. I don't even have to watch. I know what's going to win. Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Yes, 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 yes. I'm going to look now because I have to. I have to do the count just so I can humiliate you. I am the prophet. Let's look. Is the most voted track of all the tournament. Take that, bitches. The heat of battle carries on, and the Dark Fantasy team has a grim position. 3 tracks were doomed by their own teammates, and odds favored the High Fantasy team. If the Dark Fantasy lads had any chance, they would need a miracle. Until this happened. Okay, let's see. How many votes do we have for Genshin? Oh my god. Deadhead is voting for Genshin. Look at that. Talk about betrayal there. I got cheated on once, so I'm not about media that reminds me of it. What? Mate, that's... No. You're cheating with that. You can't use your trauma to vote for some... What are you doing? No. I don't give a shit. And you got cheated on while Berserk was happening. What the hell? No. Conkle, that's not fair. Hell no. What is going on? What is going on? No, sir. No. Listen, you could have said anything else except that. I am not taking into account those that are revenge because of some trauma. No. We're voting on this tournament based on the songs, on the merit of the songs, not because you got dropped as a baby. No, sir. No. I am nullifying your vote. I am exerting my tyrant position, and I am suppressing your vote. You just have to kept quiet, Conkle, and not trauma dump. That's all you had to do. But no, you had to make that about yourself, not about the song. Oh, great. Then you're not voting for the song. You're voting for you. Screw you. Nullified. Your vote doesn't count. So let's do the... I'm okay. I'm sorry you had to see that. It's just that I got a little heated. That's all. Happens to the best of us, okay? It's a tie. But guess what? Your favorite villain is about to come up. Because I haven't voted yet. So the tiebreaker is upon me. The prophet. And the prophet said that Berserk was going to take the crown. And guess what's going to happen? Boom! Bitch! Berserk goes to the next round. That's right. Rigged? No, it's not rigged. You just have to sort your teammates out, okay? You have to put them in line. T-Bone, you are the captain of the High Fantasy team. You have to sort your team out, mate. Conkle can't come in here and say that he's going to vote for a song because he got cheated on while that song was playing or some shit like that, and it's taking revenge upon the song because of that. Hell no. Not in my house. No. Not gonna happen. Screw you. I can't believe Conkle disqualified a song from a tournament because he trauma dumped on the track. I think there's in no tournament ever in the history of mankind has ever been a disqualification because someone traumatized the song out of a tournament, mate. Oh my god, that was so funny. Now, the moment of the hour. Odin Sphere against Berserk. Conqueror against Berserk. Weeps against Weeps. Unfold your might, mighty Berserk. Let the plebs know what I'm talking about. Here we go. Blessed be upon thee the dark. Fucking dark! Yes. Let the eclipse arrive. March upon our doom! Yes. Yes. Prepare the bodies! Atlas, do the gods cover face? Okay. I don't know how to do it though. Is that good? Is that okay? I tried. Berserk wings. I don't even have to look at the goddamn chat. You looked at the villain that little child gods. No. Okay. I mean, you want to battle the might of Berserk against your own will. Because you don't want me to have the reason in this. You don't want me to be right even though you know I'm right. Your ego is too big to recognize that. I get it. We're gonna have to do the coin. Heads is Odin Sphere. Tails is Berserk. Here we go. Boom. Tails. Come on. Berserk, baby. Come on. One. We have one. Team Dark 1. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Fuck. The Berserk might has to endure and... Tails, come on! Yes! I fucking told you! The prophet! The prophecy has been fulfilled. All those of you who voted against Berserk because you wanted... We don't want Atlas to have his way. No, God, no. Even though I want Berserk to win, but no, let's not have Atlas have a win. Take that in the ass. Farsdale took us to the finish line. Regardless of the fact that we had some fucking blunders in the first round, like 4 tracks that weren't even dark fantasy. Regardless of the fact that we didn't have enough songs in the upcoming rounds. We have a scarcity in dark fantasy themes in the coming rounds, in which high fantasy tracks had to match up against each other. And I said the prophecy. I told you it was a prophecy. The prophecies fulfilled. You wanted to go against the prophecy? The coin. Something that is up to the randomness of the universe told you that Berserk was going to be the champion. What else? What else do you want me to do to convince you that that's what's going to be the case? You're all wretches in the high fantasy team. Wretches upon wretches. Take that as a lesson. I have to concede that the high fantasy team did a really good job of picking their nominations. Most of them were very much aligned and on point with what we wanted to achieve for the tournament. And Odin Sphere is a pretty good track. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good. But Berserk is better.